Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Coffee and Sports, the morning show on Wire to Wire Network. Man, I'm here with two of my favorite guys, man, this morning. Gene, how was your weekend, big dog?
It was a good weekend, man. Good weekend. Softball fun, very hot, but good weekend.
Will, how was your weekend, good brother?
Great weekend, great weekend. Can't complain. Now that champions happened, and still trying to figure out what the hell the Bulls was doing during the draft.
Come on, the Bulls draft.
Hell
Well,
they doing.
what you got for us this morning, good brother?
2025 Night of Champions was over the weekend. It was a decent pay-per-view, I thought. Wasn't anything earth-shattering, but I thought it was a decent pay-per-view. First match we'll start the rundown with Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. We got Cody Rhodes winning that. Someone came to me and asked me an interesting question about that. Why are we putting Cody over in everything? Because people are seeing, and that's a good question, because people are seeing Randy Orton's on his way out, and they might want him to get one more run. Gene, what you think about that? Does Randy Orton deserve one more run before he gets out the door?
I mean, he does, but this isn't the time for the run.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena just beat Randy Orton in in Randy Orton's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
This storyline has always been meant to be Cody gets beat and then Cody's redemption story of getting the title back.
Yep.
That's what the storyline always has been about. Now, I think that there could be some shenanigans at SummerSlam where you keep the belt on Cena even longer and you give Cody a third crack at it. Maybe there's like a DQ, maybe somebody gets involved, whatever. But I think that this was meant to be Cena taking it from Cody, Cody taking it back from Cena. So I don't think this is he's the number one babyface, and he shows up everywhere.
Yep.
Like the thing about Cody that people don't understand is he's at every signing. He goes to Raw, he goes to SmackDown.
Oh yeah,
he's dedicated to the business. This is the prime of his career. Randy Orton's past his prime. John Cena's past his prime. This is the era of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Yep.
That's the era you're in right now.
Agreed. Appreciate that. Next match to talk about, we got Rhea Ripley over Raquel Rodriguez. This one kind of shocked me because I'm not a fan of Raquel. I think she's just too stiff, too unathletic, but she looked decent in this match. I got to give her props. Rhea looked fantastic. I also got a chance to see a little bit of old girl in this. And Roxanne Perez, loving Roxanne right now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Liv Morgan comes back with the Judgment Day. The next match I did want to talk about was Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Looks like Sami Zayn did get the win as I figured he would. It wasn't the best match. Gene, what would you rate that match? I'll give it a C+.
If we're talking about, always do cups of coffee, brother. I give it 2 cups of coffee.
2 cups of coffee.
I don't think it was a good match. I think that they're doing a terrible job with Karrion Kross. And I think the funny thing is when you watch Karrion Kross in the ring, I guess you're reminded why they don't push him. He is he's not a great in-ring performer.
No. You can make a case. You can push his wife or whatever significant other, Scarlett, more than him. But I digress. Next match on the docket, the United States Heavyweight Championship match, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. We got a new champion, ladies and gentlemen, Solo Sikoa. Gene, what did you think about that match?
Too many damn Samoans, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like why is there so many? There's another one. There's another one.
Another one.
And Zilla Fatu is coming over soon, too. They're all signed. I don't know, man. I'm just not. It's too many. But I think it's the right move to take the belt off of Jacob Fatu. I think you might see Roman come back and team up with Jacob and Jimmy, and you might see that little be a trio.
They're really high on Jacob too. So
it should be incredible.
He is, and you can see him in some other things. Now the match I really wanted you to talk about, Gene. We talked about a little bit on the chat on Saturday. Queen of the Ring final, Asuka versus Jade. Jade gets the win here. Now, Gene, you've seen a lot of NFL Combine football. You know who Jade reminds me of? She reminds me of the dude that looks good, in the shorts and t-shirt, doing the drills, looking fantastic. But when it comes time to play, they can't play. That's what it reminds me of. Am I right in my assessment?
I think she can wrestle. I think she's very good at her counters. I think they're trying so hard to kind of put her over that the WWE fans see that.
Mm.
I didn't. First of all, the one thing I didn't know about was because they drowned it out, like the boos and the crowd noise towards Jade. Apparently, there were some comments that were made that weren't very. I mean, I'll just
family
say
family friendly.
Yeah. So I didn't know that before I heard her speak. But man, I really wish they would get her a damn mouthpiece because it looked like she reading from a teleprompter and she needs glasses and she can't see the teleprompter. Like it just feels that way. Like,
yeah,
she's got to be more natural, and she's more natural as a heel. Like, you can even see on the one part where they have, it's actually crazy. The one part where they have her walking past the fans, and one of the fans is talking shit to her, and she goes, "Oh, your mama," and I'm like, that felt natural, right? That felt natural,
right?
It doesn't feel natural when she's speaking. Let me get
It's
Mo
crazy.
here.
What's up, Mo?
Good morning, all.
How you doing, man? Yeah, she really needs to get better. And this kind of makes you wish that they haven't pushed out the age of a manager so quickly over the years. If you could have had somebody be her manager, oh man, I'll take you back to the day with one. The Dr. Style Slick. I don't know if you guys remember him. He would have been awesome. Bobby Heenan, could have been anybody. To really be her manager, be her mouthpiece for her. But we'll see what happens. And of course, the last match of the night, we got CM Punk versus John Cena, with John Cena getting the win. And Mo, I'm glad you're here because I thought it was gonna happen, Mo. I thought it was gonna happen. I thought the cash-in was gonna happen, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Mo, we'll start with you. What did you think about that match?
I mean, the match. I thought the match was fine. The cash-in, I thought, you know what, they put on a good show. It was entertaining. I thought the cash-in, the way they did it was perfect. I would call it a cash-in tease. It's a setup. I don't think it's coming as soon as most do. But Seth Rollins is such a great performer, and his timing is impeccable. So look, I enjoyed the final match. Even the run-ins, which the run-in itself was expected, but the way they did it, they teased you just enough to lure you in. So I enjoyed every aspect of it.
Gene?
I love the match. I knew the cash-in wasn't happening. They weren't going to waste the cash-in and money at Night of Champions. They weren't going to do that. They have everything lined up for SummerSlam. If Seth cashes in, you're either going to have a failed cash-in, which doesn't make sense, or you're going to have him cashing in, and then SummerSlam, the whole match between Cena and Rhodes is ruined, and that's what the redemption story is. So I knew the cash-in wasn't happening. So
I'm just glad that this match, the whole event did go through in Saudi. I'm just glad everybody made it back okay. There was no incidents or anything like that. So hey, good to have those guys back. Overall, what would you guys grade this event as a whole?
3 cups of coffee out of 5.
Mo?
It was really good. It was better than I anticipated. I'll give it 3 cups.
Yeah, I'll give it 3. I was gonna give it 2, but Gene persuaded me to go 3.
Mo, can I get your thoughts, because I want to hear it, and I know you weren't here. I love me some Jade Cargill.
I do too.
I think that she is so marketable outside of the WWE. She is so bad on the microphone. Like, so bad. And someone needs to have a conversation with her about her finishes. Like, the one finish that she had in the Queen of the Ring semifinals, the referee had to literally move her foot from holding.
That match with Roxanne.
Roxanne's shoulder was still up after Jade did. This one, she falls off of her, and thank God the camera angle kept Asuka on the ground, because her shoulder wasn't down either. So she's sloppy a little bit in the ring. She's got a lot of technicality to her, and she absolutely needs a mouthpiece. That's my take. I think she could be a great heel. I think that the problem with her being a face is it's not natural for her. That cockiness, that arrogance, that like I was explaining to Will what she said to the fan as she's walking out. Or your mama, like that type of attitude is natural to her. I would love your take on it.
I think her skill set, and because she's a power wrestler, I think she'd be much more effective in the ring as a heel. Because she's more of a bully. The heel is always the bully. I think she's better as a bully, and she doesn't move as well in the ring as a lot of other performers is. She can look stiff at times. I would rather her be a heel and have a mouthpiece, because when she speaks, and again, this is about being a face, it comes off very unauthentic and stiff. You can tell she's trying, and she shouldn't have to try. Like if you ever saw her work in AEW, she seemed more natural because she was more of a heel, more of a bully. Yeah, and I think and if Triple H just run the tape, man, she's not meant to be a face.
This tells me that Triple H has no clue into what he's doing, and I think it was Vince Russo that said he would like to see Vince come back and have Shane run it. Do you think that would be effective?
No,
I don't think so either. I
think Triple H has done a great job. I think TKO is in debt, and they're forcing pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. And it's not easy to keep up with. I think Triple H has done a great job with long-term storytelling. So I don't agree with that. And I think that there's definitely other wrestlers that need to do it. Like sometimes it's got to be on her. She's done a shitty job. Call it like it is.
Yeah. She reminded me of and I don't know if you guys remember, reminds me of an early Lex Luger back in the day when he first got his start. He was the same way, and to an extent stayed that way. But that's all I got, Carmike.
All right, Mo, we gonna start with you, big dog. Man, after OKC's epic championship run, SGA had a legendary season, man. Is this the beginning of a dynasty loading for OKC?
They're set up to where they can be a dynasty, right? Because of the way Sam Presti has put together this roster, the way he's drafted, the assets that he still has. Even the salary cap situation is favorable for them. But dynasty after one season, and if you look at their journey and how they won the championship, I can see where people would lean towards that. I think they're more vulnerable than most people think. Look, they're the defending champions. They should be the favorite as the rosters are currently constructed. And I would book them to be the favorites in the West, but I don't know if they're a dynasty. I think, you know, a lot of people felt that way about the Celtics when they won last year because they were set up to win. You never know. It might not just be injuries. They might not be able to get over the hump again. I will say this: take them and the Pacers, and obviously the Pacers are in a dire straits because their best player is going to be gone for a whole year. But I think what the Pacers did was more of a run. And I think what the Thunder did, because of the way they're built and how SGA, Chet, and J-Dub can still get better, I think they're going to be around for a while. Do I think they're going to win back-to-back championships? No, but again, could they win 2 titles or 3 titles in 5 years? Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it depends on what we refer to as a dynasty. 3 titles in 5 years to me.
Warriors was a dynasty. You know,
3 titles in 5 years is a dynasty. I think that they're set up that they can be one. I think it's obviously early, but like we're projecting, right? So if we're projecting, I think that they are set up and very capable to become a dynasty.
Will, what you think, big dog?
It's possible with the way they're set up with draft picks because you're going to have some defections. You're not going to be able to afford to pay everybody. You're going to have some defections, but you have draft picks there. You have Sam Presti there to make those deals. So it's very possible. I'm not going to call it yet because I want to see it before I say it, but yeah, they're set up to be the next dynasty.
All right, so ranking the last 7 champions as far as their roster. They did this on the herd.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the number 17. Do you like or dislike this, Gene? I'm gonna start with you. The
The last
2019,
17 champions.
the last 7 champions.
Okay, 7. Okay.
Their roster, they're ranking the roster.
Got it.
So at number 7 being the weakest roster is the 2019 Raptors.
I mean, that's absolutely fair. I have zero issue with that. It was a great run by Kawhi Leonard, but you also dealt with injuries with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. They were not a healthy team that they played against in the finals. I think a healthy Warriors team beats them in 5.
Will.
I would agree. That's fair. That's fair.
Mo.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is rare to say, but they're ranked properly. That was a run. That was a great run, but it was a run.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Will, I'm gonna start with you. At number 6, 2025 Thunder.
That's wild.
We're already doing this with them. They just won the dang. I like the roster. I love the roster. There you go. Good Lord.
Mo, what you think about the 2025 Thunder at number 6?
You know, honestly, I don't think they're better than the Raptors. Because,
oh man,
well, I'm being honest. I would take that version of Kawhi over SGA. I would. And don't forget, Siakam, it's weird because we don't see him as a star player, but he was putting up similar numbers way back then.
He was.
As the second option to Kawhi Leonard. Don't forget, Van Fleet was on that roster. OG was on that roster. That was a deep roster. I think the Thunder versus that team, I think that team's better.
I don't agree. I think that this year's Oklahoma City Thunder needs to be higher on this list. I can think of multiple teams in the last 7 years I think they're better than, including the bubble Lakers, including the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's a wild statement to have them 6 out of the last 7 champions. You're talking about the team that won the third most games in NBA history, behind the 96-97 Bulls and the Warriors that won 72 games that didn't win the finals. So I think that's a wild statement.
All right, Mo. At number 5, the 2021 Bucks.
I
ranking just the roster wise.
I think the Bucks should be the last team. You said going on the roster.
They had Drew Holiday, man. They had
I
Chris
love
Middleton
Drew.
playing at a high clip.
Love Middleton. He was an all-star. Giannis. I like their core, but you said the roster. That would be everybody else around them. I don't think it was that great a roster. It really wasn't.
Will, what you think, big dog?
They should be last. They should be last. They took advantage. They took advantage of Chris Paul's injury, partially. It wasn't that great to me. It wasn't that great.
Gene.
I mean, I think they should be 7 too, because I'd like to put them 6th. But if you remember, a couple years prior, that Raptors team beat them.
Yep.
And I think that was a better Bucks team that the Raptors team beat. So I got to put them 7. So I'll have Bucks 7, Raptors 6 right now.
Gene, sticking with you. Now, as far as the roster wise, this was one of the weakest rosters they had. 2022 Warriors at 4.
Oh, bro, this is such a LeBron James list. I don't like – this is such a LeBron James list. Like, this is so annoying. The bubble roster for the Lakers is not better than – this is unbelievable. No, I disagree. It was the weaker of the rosters. Sure, I don't – whatever you want to say. This was Steph going nuts, and I don't agree.
Will?
Don't agree.
Mo.
Yeah, I don't agree either, but I don't agree probably different from them because the roster wasn't a good roster.
Nope.
They ran up against a team that was tailor-made for them and a young Celtics team. They should be last. They should be last.
Oh my God.
If we're talking about the roster, that's not even made up. That wasn't a good roster. Andrew Wiggins was the second best player. It wasn't a good roster. And if you want to give him credit having a good year, he averaged 18 points a game. It was good. But that was not a championship team. The Celtics literally blew that series, but that was not a good roster.
All right, so I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1 real quick, Mo. I'm gonna stick with you, then Gene, then Will can go. 3, Nuggets, 2023 Nuggets. 2, 2024 Celtics. Number 1, the 2020 Lakers.
You know what, Carmike? The thing about your list is
this came from the herd.
Well, the
Colin Cowherd show.
The herd's dumb, but it feels like every because if you said these, if you had a list and they were all out there together, we could all see the teams at the same time. This team would be further down too, like 3. And I know they're not going to rank the bubble. Oh, look, I'm a Laker fan. They better not. I mean, if they're in there,
that roster was solid, man.
No, it wasn't.
I just told you the Warriors roster wasn't a great roster. Kyle Kuzma is your third best player.
Yep.
Terrible team.
Yep.
Terrible team. You had Kyle Kuzma as a third option.
No, that was the team. They had Dwight Howard, Danny Green.
Dwight Howard stunk on that team.
He was a rim protector.
That was washed Dwight Howard. And they let him, I forgot who the other center was. I think it was JaVale McGee.
McGee was the other center.
They let those two get away with a legal mugging of Joker. Like Joker should have shot 20 free throws.
He said Dwight Howard. He averaged 7 points a game.
He was a rim protector. That was the thing they needed. Rim protector and rebound. AD was going insane in the bubble.
That
is the worst roster in this countdown.
What has Kyle Kuzma done since?
You said roster. So aside from LeBron and
Alex
AD,
Caruso,
he wasn't
locked down. You had Alex Caruso. Rondo played great that year.
Rondo was a role player. He wasn't all-star. That wasn't all-star.
You're talking the team as a whole. They played very well that year together.
They had 2 guys on their entire team that averaged over 10 points a game. All right. 2.
That was not a good team.
Like that team stunk, and they ranked them 1.
Man, Gene was spot on. This is a LeBron James list.
And who did that team play in the finals? Thank you.
This ain't a Nick Wright list.
Honestly, that team. I tell people all the time.
Was Nick Wright filling in for Colin Cowherd that day?
I tell people all the time. The only reason the Lakers really won is because the season wasn't that long, and
how does Key
AD can survive.
How does Key say it? Nick Wrong. That's Nick Wrong's list. That's his list.
That's a bad list.
That's a terrible List.
And that Laker team was terrible.
Bro, every time I heard another team, as he's counting it down, I'm like, oh, it's got to be the 2020 Lakers. And it kept going. And then he ran 3-2-1, and he goes, Nuggets. I'm like, wait, what? Then he said the 2024 Celtics would beat them in a gentleman's sweep. And I have no doubt about it. They are the best team out of the last 7 years, the 2024 Celtics. No doubt.
I'm not arguing.
You can't argue with that. You really can't.
But the Lakers shouldn't be 2.
No. That's the part that frustrates me.
All right, Will.
Yo, people underrate that Nuggets team. That Nuggets team, the 2023 Nuggets team, before they got broken up, when they were deep, when they had all those players, when they had that depth, when Jamal Murray was incredible on that run. Michael Porter Jr. didn't forget how to shoot a jump shot.
Nope.
Like that team, oh God, that team was very good. Christian Braun was coming off the bench.
Yep.
Who's the guy that went to Indiana?
Bruce Brown.
Incredible off the bench.
Yep.
They went 8 deep on that team. That team and the salary cap in the second apron destroyed that.
Indeed, it did.
Or the GM didn't have any guts to go through it and make it work properly.
Go with that.
He wasn't allowed. He wasn't allowed.
Speaking of the second apron, it seems like the Celtics are still pumping and dumping, man. Like they having a fire sale out there, man. Will, is right now they are entertaining ideas of trading away Brown and White. as far as it looks to me, like the GM was very irresponsible pushing out all his money to the Celtics players, and now they're having a fire sale. But that just, hey, I mean, if they would have won a championship this year, would they still not be in the same problem right now?
You will still be in the same boat, and you will still probably make those changes because both players are aging vets. But
I think they were going to still make those changes.
Yeah, they were still going to make those changes regardless because you got two aging vets. Now you got some younger pieces, and you're going to doubt Brad Stevens' ability to make it work.
I mean, I don't doubt him not making it work, but I still see that they would still be having a second April. Even Jason Tatum was healthy and they won a championship, they would still be having a fire sale right now because they spent too much money over the second April.
I don't think they let Jaylen Brown or Derek White go. I really don't think they let those guys go. I really think that's the remainder of your core. Jason Tatum has to have somebody credible when he comes back. So I think those two guys will still be there.
You can sell paying a luxury tax to a team that can compete for a championship. When Jason Tatum got hurt, they're not going to pay that luxury tax. That second April has made these super teams irrelevant, and it's brought more parity to basketball. It's created better parity in the NBA. As soon as Jason Tatum got hurt, all these guys that are – look, call it like it is. Jaylen Brown's overpaid. He's overpaid.
For what he gives you, I agree.
And it's not anything against Jaylen Brown. I love Jaylen Brown. He's overpaid. So Brad Stevens knows what he's doing. They're not dumb. And in 3 years, when we talk about, look at the Celtics roster, they built up this young core again. They won't be down long. Jason Tatum will be back after this next year. I think that you win a championship. You had a very good chance. They were the favorite to win the championship this year. That's what you build that roster for. You dumped the 35-year-old Drew Holiday, got $72 million off the payroll. You got rid of Porzingis, who is out with undisclosed injuries. Like I don't even know how he passes a physical for Atlanta. I think that the moves they made so far are smart. And until you tell me what they're getting for Jaylen Brown and Derek White, I have to operate in the thought process that these are smart moves so far. Now, if you say trading Jaylen Brown, they're like, they might pay too much money. Let's say they get back a young superstar for him. That's not overpaid. I don't know what they're going to get. What happens if they trade Jaylen Brown and to the San Antonio Spurs and they get Dylan Harper back? Do you still think it's a bad move? I don't know. I want to see what they get.
True.
Brad Stevens is a boss. So behind Sam Presti. Is Brad Stevens. Yep. And I trust in Brad Stevens. They don't plan on trading Jaylen Brown or Derek White. I say they don't plan on it. But if somebody makes Brad Stevens an offer he can't refuse, they're going to get moved. He's a forward-thinking GM/president. And he would have no problem, because we're talking about Jason Tatum a year from now, walking into a completely different a talented roster, probably a younger roster, but I think if he thought it was for the betterment or the future of the Celtics, Brad Stevens would absolutely pull a trigger on that deal. Jaylen Brown's a really good player. He's an absolute all-star, all-NBA caliber player, but I wouldn't call him a superstar. But Gene brought it up. He's unique in that he could bring you back a young star who could potentially be a superstar. I can see that. You might even get picks to go with that. So again, if Brad Stevens doesn't plan on it, but is he listening? Of course he's listening.
See, now I want y'all to understand that the second apron, it comes with penalties. It ain't just you paying a luxury tax.
Oh yeah.
Like severe penalties, which that's why I'm saying like they would have been over the second apron if they would have won a championship this year anyway. So they would be
worth it to win two.
So
it's worth it.
So you saying if Jason Tatum, if he would have stayed healthy, they would be paying the price right now. Like, let's go for another one.
Yeah.
So you saying that they?
Can I answer this real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Do the Celtics with a healthy Tatum beat the Thunders in the finals? And the answer is no. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Joe Mazzulla stinks. He does. He stinks. Call it like it is. If Ime Udoka didn't get caught fiddling with the owner's wife, the Celtics would be a dynasty right now. Call it like it is.
Facts.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Like I said, the second apron, you lose like your first round pick for the next 7 years if you stay over the second apron.
I think the Celtics win this spotty him.
It freezes picks. I don't think you lose.
Well, yeah, it freezes them. So, but
I think the Celtics win this spotty him.
I think they still win because OKC's coach was getting circles coached around him in the finals. It wasn't that he out strategized Rick Carlisle. He came in there with more ammunition, and it was a 7-game series. I think the Celtics would win despite Joe Mazzulla too, because I don't think he would be out coached.
So you think if Tatum stayed healthy, the Pacers still would have won against the Celtics?
No, I'm saying it was a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. Yes, they have talent, but Rick Carlisle manipulated a lot of matchups very well to extend the series. So I'm not saying the Pacers would have won. I will say the way he came out, I'm just talking about for me, the way he came out in Game 7, bomb, and how quiet it was in that arena. Had he not got injured, I think they would have been in trouble.
Gene, what do you think about the Pelicans trading away their 2026 unprotected first round pick for the move up for Mr. Queen? How do we like this?
I like Derek Queen. Love him a lot. I think he's one of the best players in the draft. I think he's underrated. I think you're getting a really good player. For them to give away a potential top 10 pick unprotected, like, come on, man. You got to, hey, listen, let me top 8 protect this thing. Like, let's do something with the pick. You moved up 10 spots and gave away an unprotected pick, completely unprotected, when Zion Williamson hasn't played a full season ever. I don't know, bro. Not what I was. Not a good move.
I don't understand the thinking of it though, because I've seen Queen play. He's like a 4-5, right? He's a 4-5. Well, Zion's like a 4, even though he's a short 4. He's a 4. Whatever you want to call him. I don't even think their skill sets mesh. I don't understand what they're doing. It doesn't make sense to me. And I actually feel like we always talk about culture and where you get drafted matter. Derek Queen got a bad deal. He got a really bad deal.
I mean, you don't like the Fears Queen Zion mesh?
I think Fears and Queen's a good mesh.
Anything that involves Zion, I got a problem with.
My thing, this shouldn't even be a question. My Bulls should have put them at 12, but the dummies that in that front office didn't pick him at 12. He was right there to be picked, and they didn't pick him. They love these European projects, and the kid is 210 pounds. But I think it's a dumb move to give up an unprotected pick within that range to just it makes me upset, but I think it's a dumb move for them to give up this pick and it be unprotected. That's ridiculous.
I feel like Chicago's one of those franchises that keeps drafting European players to get the next Joker, but they keep swinging and missing. Like
it did more. What did they do in the second round? The same freaking thing, bro.
Their general manager should be fired.
Nobody had a worse draft than the Brooklyn Nets, bro. You're not gonna convince me differently.
You might be right on that.
So
but they had a bad draft too. All those picks and it was bad.
Speaking of the draft, they have the biggest winner and the biggest loser of the draft. And the biggest winner of the draft is the Hawks. And the loser is the Pelicans. Would you agree with this?
I don't agree with the loser. I think the loser.
I agree with the winner.
I don't agree with the loser. The loser's the Nets. I don't know what the Nets were looking at on that draft board. I really don't. It's like they were just shooting darts and missing. So I don't agree with the losers at all.
They have 5 first-round draft picks. They picked all 5 of the first-round draft picks, and none of them have superstar potential. None of them. None of them.
None.
Like, that's a wild thing to me. You had 5 first-round draft picks, and you came away with Igor Demon from BYU.
You figured you'd get one right, but they didn't.
Who knows?
Like a European.
Anthony Bennett was right. Who knows?
No one thought Anthony Bennett was right. No one thought that.
Hell no.
There's no way. There's no way. I think Utah is the biggest winner in the draft, if we're being honest.
I like what Danny Ainge did.
I think they came out of this draft with Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton Jr. And I think that those two as a whole are the best two tough shot makers in the draft.
I love what Danny Ainge did there.
I like that. I like
Danny Ainge just said, I don't care what you think. I don't care what your opinion is. I'm picking you because you're the best on the board. So now you either have a player who's going to be one of the best picks in the draft, or you have a commoditable trade piece that you can use for the future. Either or. That was
he already changed his tone, Will. He got there. I'm so excited to be a Jazz. Can't wait.
Gosh.
Danny Ainge had one phone conversation with him. You can rock. We'll figure this shit out.
We'll make it work. We'll put some nightclubs in for you. Come on.
Mo, biggest winner and loser in the draft. You agree with it?
I think the biggest winner is the Dallas Mavericks by far. They got the right player. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be in Utah because I don't know if Ace Bailey's that dude. He's talented, but the league is full of ill-fated talented players that never reach their potential. So I feel like Cooper Flagg's floor is he's going to be a really good all-star. If he's not what we think he is, he's going to be an all-star. I don't think you can say the same thing about Ace Bailey or Walter Clayton. And I like both of them, but I think Walter Clayton could be an impact player. I don't think he's going to be a star. Ace Bailey has potential to be a star, or again, he could be the next Michael Beasley. So I don't know.
Do you like them with Lloyd Marketing, Mo?
No, because Marketing is not a star. He's not. He's a good example. Talented dude, but he's just a dude.
Yeah.
Can't be your best player. Can't be your second best. Like he's Porzingis on steroids. So send him somewhere where he's the third or fourth option, and Marketing will look special. But if he's going to be your best player or your second best player, you're not going to make the playoffs.
And again, somebody else my Bulls gave up on, but I digress.
I think Walter Clayton Jr.'s floor will be Peyton Pritchard. I think his absolute ceiling, and now y'all might call me an asshole, and that's okay, but I think his absolute ceiling is a poor man Steph Curry.
I agree with that.
Yeah, he can shoot.
I think that he is incredible.
He was making some.
Now that's his absolute ceiling. All right, so let me be careful, but I think his floor is Peyton Pritchard, and I think if you're getting Peyton Pritchard at your floor in the 17th, 18th pick, that's a very good pick.
I love Ace Bailey. I love his talent. I just hope he's developed properly.
He could be. I think his absolute ceiling is Tracy McGrady.
So, I love Ace. I love him.
Like I said, the talent is great to have it. That's the gift. How you apply it is how it matters. Like, if you know and you've watched the kid Colin Sexton. With Colin Sexton, it has nothing to do with his talent. He has a ton of talent, but he's not a consistent basketball player. He's not a winning basketball player. I'm just saying. So the having talent is great, but what you do with it is what matters.
Yeah, he got traded again. That's a
NFL genius.
Yo,
who has more to prove this season, man? Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Aaron Rodgers' Hall of Fame career is over. He has nothing to prove. He's just a moron. Seriously. And I think that Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson is a great question because with Joe Burrow, it's you made one Super Bowl run. Now, to be fair, a lot of excuses get made for Joe because his offensive line, situations that happen around him. We all know Cincinnati's a terrible organization. But if we're being honest, he hasn't made the playoffs the last couple of years. I think the answer is Joe Burrow, even though Lamar Jackson has to get over that hump. I think that the answer is Joe Burrow has more to prove this year. I think Lamar Jackson's not a bad second question, but Aaron Rodgers is not on this list.
Mo, who has more to prove? This season coming.
Yeah, look, I think because he hasn't been in the playoffs, you can definitely look at Burrow, but I would look at Lamar Jackson. That dude's had every tool that you could want in a tool shed at his disposal and has still come up short. And he's going into this season again with a better football team on both sides of the football. He's still got no worse than the second best running back in football. He's got playmakers all over on the offensive line, on the outside, and on his own talent. Barring an injury, Lamar is going to be an MVP candidate. He's going to put up insane numbers. Look, Lamar, I think it's Lamar Jackson because if he comes up short again, we're just going to say he's the greatest regular season player ever, right? Because that's who he'll be. And I don't know if that's a terrible moniker, but if the ultimate goal is to win a championship, it's not great. So I know Joe Burrow hasn't been to the playoffs recently, but I'm looking at all the weapons at Lamar's disposal and everything he's got going on. I think it's Lamar Jackson.
Would you put him in the category with Russell Westbrook and James Harden as being like, because they're like some of the best regular season players you ever seen?
Man, it on the surface, yes, but the NBA is so different because I can't speak to Gene or Will, but I knew James Harden wasn't going to win a title as the best player. I knew Russell Westbrook wasn't going to win a title as the best player. So they didn't disappoint me. They were exactly who I thought they were. So I don't know. It's different.
Will, who got more to prove this season?
Lamar. Just from a personal standpoint, I'm tired of seeing who we've deemed the best player not go all the way and win the chip. So and you have everything presented to you wrapped up in a fine gift in terms of roster construction with your offensive line, your running back, your tight ends. You have everything there, and you don't get it done. It's Lamar.
This is bullshit. This is some bullshit right here. Lamar deserves no excuses. Baltimore's been good enough to win a championship for 3 years. That line right there is bullshit. So he can say the second line with a straight face. But people acting like the wide receiver car has been good or even will be good this year is funny. They are littered with first-round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Littered with first-round draft picks. I'm so tired of hearing that. Here, I'll do something for you, Kittrell. I will defend Lamar in the right way. His last 2 playoff games, the worst play that happened in the game had nothing to do with him. Mark Andrews dropped the ball going across the middle and fumbled, and then they got the ball back, went all the way down, scored a touchdown, and then Mark Andrews dropped the 2-point conversion. And then 2 years ago, Zay Flowers was going in to score the game-tying touchdown, and he dove across the line and fumbled it. Those aren't Lamar Jackson fault issues. In order to win in the NFL, you need things to bounce your way. They haven't. I'll defend him in the fact that the last couple of years, they haven't bounced the Ravens' way. However, that roster is loaded.
Yep.
It's loaded. But let's stop acting like it's always Lamar's receivers. It's always Lamar's receivers. They'll draft another first round. He's had more first round receivers play for him than any quarterback in football. It's insane.
I don't think the Ravens are good at drafting wide receivers. They're more good at drafting defensive players.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't care who the wide receiver is. If you're a wide receiver and you want to have a 1,200 or a 1,500-yard season, you don't want to play for the Ravens.
No.
And there's a reason for that. I'm just saying there's a reason for that.
What you mean? Lamar been throwing the ball more.
If Lamar had Tyreek Hill would average like 12 yards a catch, and he would get busted up. Maybe not even finish the season because Lamar just throws medicine balls. I'm just telling you right now, he's a terrific player, but when we start measuring quarterbacks, if you just said your ability to sit in the pocket, dissect the defense, and throw somebody open, he's not that dude.
What's different from the? Hold on, wait. What's different from the Ravens wide receiver and the Chiefs wide receivers? And we talk about how awful they are.
They got Patrick Mahomes.
That's the difference.
They got Patrick Mahomes.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
I just want to say this out loud. And I know some of these names weren't in their prime. I understand that. But these are the first round wide receivers that Lamar Jackson's played with since he's been in the league. And I'm going to start with the worst ones. Sammy Watkins, Michael Crabtree, John Brown, Willie Snead, Nelson Aguilar, Odell Beckham Jr., Marquise Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers. That man has played with 9 guys that were drafted in the first round, blue chip wide receivers. 9.
Nelson was trash.
Nelson Aguilar, hold on. You can say Nelson was trash all you want. During that 2017-2018 run, he was a very good wide receiver that got himself paid. Did he not?
He did, but they needed somebody else because that number one receiver couldn't take on the load, so they brought in Alshon Jeffrey, which took the load.
Nelson Aguilar wasn't the number one wide receiver over there. He was number 3 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about for us, the Eagles. He was one. They tried him at the one. He was trash. He couldn't handle it.
Look, all I know is I give credit where credit is due. Barring injuries, the Ravens are going to be one of the best teams in the league. They're probably going to win their division. All I'm saying is when we get to the postseason and we look at all the accolades, Henry will probably have another 1,500-yard season. Lamar is going to throw for close to 4,000 and have another close to 1,000 yards rushing. They're going to be special. On defense, they're going to be special, by the way. We don't even talk about that. And for some reason, they're not going to win it all. And I'm not saying you can put it all on Lamar because football is so dependent on everybody else. The quarterback is dependent on the O-line and the playmakers. I get all that. You can't put it all on them. But the same way you can't put it all on them, when they win, we do give the quarterback the bulk of the credit. So I do think they take some of the fault too.
Yeah.
True.
I agree with everything you just said.
Yep.
Pro Football Focus defensive lineman rankings heading into the 2025 season. I'm gonna start with number 5 is the Buffalo Bills. Gene, you like this?
Well, I got to hear the top 4 before. I don't like Buffalo's got a decent offensive line. And don't take this the wrong way. The Buffalo Bills have a decent defensive line, but I want to hear the whole thing. Like, I know Joey Bosa's there. He's a little old, overrated. Gregory Russo's been good, and I love me some Ed Oliver more than the next person. So they have players on that line. But let me hear the next 4. Well,
at number 4, the Texans. At number 3, the Giants. At number 2, the Eagles. And at number 1, the Steelers.
I got news for you. The Eagles being on this list is a travesty. They should not be on this list.
We're just talking defensive linemen.
I understand that, but you have Jalen Carter and who? A bunch of unproven guys. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Nolan Smith was looked at as a bust up until the last 6 games of last year. I think Nolan Smith's good. I think the Eagles' defensive line is good, but they're not top 5 in football. That's ludicrous. And I'm an Eagles fan. I'm sorry, but Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, who's been a first-round draft pick, I don't want to say he's a bust. They won a Super Bowl, but he's not been great. Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, an unproven guy, like that's their line, and we're going to put them ahead of the Giants? That Giants defensive line is insanity. It's insanity. I think the Eagles being the 2 is laughable.
I like what I'm looking in the chat. I'm always respectful to the chat. I kind of like what Cottrell's talking about.
Me
I like
too.
What he's working.
Me too.
I like what he's working with.
Me too.
Will, how you like this list?
Giants should be 1. They should be 1. Yeah, they should be 1. That line is just sick. They should be 1.
Mo, you agree with Cottrell?
Yeah, Giants 1, Texans 2. I would have the Eagles 3. I think the Steelers' defensive line is a little overrated in my opinion.
Moving on to the Pro Football Focus linebacker core. Mo, I'm gonna start with you. At number 5, we have the Commanders. At number 4, we have the Chiefs. At number 3, we have the Patriots. At number 2, the Lions. And at number 1, the Eagles.
Never mind. I ain't gonna say that.
Who was number 2 again?
The Lions, linebacker core.
And the Ravens are nowhere in there. I think their linebacker core is pretty good. But I understand. I guess they're saying it's Roquan Smith and 2 dudes. I get it. Look, I get it. Somebody's got to be your leader, but he's that good that the other guys, they play better because of him. I'm just saying.
Will, how you like the top 5 linebacker?
I don't. I think the Ravens should be 1.
Ravens should be 1?
Well, not 1.
I think the Ravens should be either 1 or 2. I like Roquan Smith. I'm a big fan of Roquan Smith. I was a big fan
too.
I was a big fan of his.
Simpson aren't there.
I was a big fan of his when he was in Chicago. So yeah, I think the Ravens should be one. And you know they're gonna produce. That scheme forces them to be a good core.
You know what you just did? You just because of Raekwon, they should be number one. It's kind of like how the Chiefs should be top because of Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
You did that kind of thing. But we talking about the linebacker core as the unit.
facts.
Gene, you like this list?
I hate when I agree with him. I would love to argue with him. Who do Patriots have at linebacker that puts them in the top 5? And look, I guess I'm being guys. I'm trying to lower the expectations of the Philadelphia Eagles because them being one is absolutely ridiculous. You're putting that much faith in a guy you drafted at 30. God can't, like that's what they're doing. Nakobe Dean is coming back from a season-ending injury. Probably will not be ready by the start of week 1. You have Zach Bond, who is an All-Pro, and you have a first-round draft pick who hasn't played in the NFL. And they're number 1?
Yeah.
I don't. Do you agree with that, Carmike, as an Eagles fan? This is a little bit too much. See, here's the problem, right? Jory said y'all doing too much raisin glazing this morning. PFF is doing a little bit too much eagle glazing this morning.
Hey.
But I love Nakobe Dean, right? If he's healthy, I think Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are a great combo. He's not healthy. And you're talking about Jahad Campbell, who I think is a great linebacker. But he hasn't played in the NFL yet. Like, he's not even played yet. The Lions have Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, who are both all pro caliber players. I can't. I don't understand. I don't understand. Who's the top 5 game? Give me the whole 5. I know the Patriots shouldn't be there.
It's the Commanders at 5.
Commanders are
Chiefs
good.
at 4.
Chiefs at 4, great. Nick Bolton, like that team's solid.
All right, so at number 6 is the Jaguars.
At linebacker?
Linebackers.
Oh, I see what they're doing. They're counting edge rushers as linebackers. There's no way that they're number 5 at linebacker or number 6 at linebacker without counting edge rushers. The Jaguars? Like the ones that play in Jacksonville?
Yeah. The Jacksonville ones.
Special topic right here, man. Hassan Yang, he was selected number 16 for the Portland, has drawn attention with the comparison of the Chinese Joker.
Oh,
I hate comparisons like this.
I
hate it.
The noise that Mo made was
I hate comparisons like this. Wait till the kid plays and goes through a career before we start making comparisons like this. I hate this.
It's audacious though, premature nickname, but your thoughts on Yank getting the comparison Joker, Will? Talk to me.
I don't like it. Wait till the kid pans out. It's undue pressure. Wait till it pans out. Let's see what he can do a whole season before we start nicknaming people. Come on, man. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Clarence Weatherspoon. They called him Baby Barkley. What did he do?
Watch out!
What did he do?
No disrespect to the spoon.
I'm just saying. You called him Baby Barkley. What did you call Harold Miner, Baby Jordan? What did either one of them do? Nothing. Come on, man.
I'm not here for any strays for the spoon. The spoon. I remember being at a Sixers game because they used to be like $4 going to a Sixers game.
I heard about that
with Dana Barros and Clarence Weatherspoon.
Yep.
And they would go hype when Clarence Weatherspoon would get a point. The announcer for the spoon.
But my point remains: you nickname these people. What did they do at the end of the day? Just saying.
Mo, how you like the Chinese Joker comparison?
I want to give this kid a chance, and I would just say, just let him develop. He's a hooper from China, and he may be a good player, but it would not shock me that he's not better. And he's a rookie, but he's not better right now than DeAndre Ayton, who I'm not a fan of.
Your leg is about to get him.
If you're not better than DeAndre Ayton, you can't be any kind of joker. Okay, I just that's a really bad nickname. You're talking about, to me, the guy that's still the best player in the game today. The Chinese, maybe he's the Chinese Joker if he's playing in the China League. Right, there you go, in the China League.
Yeah.
But over here with the big boys, he's just a dude. They need to chill.
Gene.
Stop. What are we talking about?
All right. Gene, LeBron opting into his $52 million player option for his 8th season with the Lakers and his 23rd season overall, man. This is one of the fastest times we ever seen LeBron take a player option that quick, man. Do you think the Lakers got a plan for next season, man? What you think is going on with this?
I think that LeBron James should announce his retirement at the end of this season. This way, everybody can give him his flowers on his last stop in Philadelphia, his last stop in Cleveland, his last stop in Miami. I think he should announce his retirement right now. And normally, when he does an extension, he does like a 2, like one year and then one option. He just signed into the option this year. I think that's telling you that he's about to retire, and I think he should announce that. So, like, first of all, the amount of crowds you're going to get to see LeBron James's last game in Cleveland, last game in Miami will be incredible. And I think that he deserves, as much as we hate on LeBron James, I think he deserves his flowers just like anybody else when they're walking their way out. And I think that he deserves that farewell tour.
Mo, I already know what you about to say, man. You don't like it at all, do you?
I think that, look, it's good for him. But I thought that Rich Paul's comments were interesting because Rich Paul said, while we opted in, LeBron is monitoring what the Lakers do with the roster because LeBron wants to compete for titles whatever time he has left in his career. By the way, that's kind of funny because we were just off of a week of talking about ring culture, but what is he doing? Let me see what kind of roster they're going to put around me so I can win a ring. I don't understand.
That is hilarious. I like this point, man. That's hilarious.
That's amazing from that guy in his camp. That's amazing. Honestly, I'm with Gene. One greatest player of all time, top 2 all time, deserving of every accolade you can ever give to a player. But if that's the mandate, if that's what him and Rich Paul are talking about, I'm a Laker fan, but I'm a realist. They're not a title contender. Not today. And unless they make a move that is an impactful move, they won't be this season. They will make the playoffs. I suspect they might go further than the first round, but it ain't a lock. The bottom line is they're not title contenders. And if he wants to compete for titles and still play, then he doesn't want to be with the Lakers.
Will, real quick, man, how you feel about LeBron opting into his contract, man?
I don't like it. The man has made $171 million, if memory serves, over his career.
He made more than that.
As far as I believe, I'm not sure of that number.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that number.
He made that last 3 years.
But I just think that it's ridiculous. At some point, when you commend what he signed into how much was this deal? 52
million for this
52 million for the player option. That's ridiculous. You're talking about winning titles. This man should be taking a pay cut and trying to win on his way out. I do agree with Gene that he should retire. Look like Savannah's getting on him a little bit, but I just don't like the fact that he signed this deal because with this, the Austin Reeves situation going on with him wanting all that money, I don't know how you make that pan out.
It's just under 600 million career earnings.
Oh, okay.
In the NBA.
That makes sense. And that's another thing, Carmike. Think about this. Austin Reeves declined with the Lakers offered him. He's saying, like, I'm planning on making about 45, close to 50 million myself next year.
Get rid of that man now.
That's disgusting. I don't like it.
I like Austin Reeves a lot. He's not worth 45. If they don't get rid of Rob Pelinka, should be fired. You got to move off that now.
Get rid of that man right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody stopping through, being active in the chat, man. The NFL Genius stopping through this morning. You got any closing marks for our people?
No, sir. I appreciate just being able to talk sports with y'all.
Will, closing marks for our people.
Very quickly, don't forget to catch the Sports Report podcast tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern here on Wire to Wire Sports. Yours truly, Seven, and all the rest of the crew will be there.
And as always, if you mow better, you do better. Close us out, big dog.
Hey, chat, appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.